What's up, B2 Capital G? Here we got some Salamangreat action for you guys to check out, and this is the first Salamangreat duel that I have on my channel. I was so waiting for somebody to send me a duel like this that shows the power of the Salamangreat cheese. I know that Salamangreats have a whole bunch of link monsters, and that's cool, but I personally feel like the fusion monster Violet Chimera is by far their best extra deck monster. I think it's a win condition, and the only real problem with the card is the fact that it only lets you summon it with one link monster, which if it was 1+ link monster, like you could use like 4 link monsters, that would be so ridiculously good. But overall, it's a very strong card, and it's good for what most people are going to use it for, which is a battering ram cheese card to OTK your opponent. I think that makes Salamangreats a go second deck, very similar to like Cyber Dragons, and I kind of feel like this is the way they should win their duel. So this duel is against Nordics. My bad, I did not mean to swap. I meant to play it right there. I have to explain some of these Salamangreat cards because people, if you don't watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns, you might not be familiar. I think we're going to see Golvig plus Thor here. Pretty sure that's going to be the play. No real defense, although Golvig is, this card can't be attacked because it is pointing to a Nordic monster. And, you'd like to have an impermanence or like a Solemn or something like that to stop this, but I think it's okay. Foolish Burial for the Falco, and then Mir is going to be attempted to be summoned by discarding a Salamangreat card. Doesn't really look all that good at first because you're like, whoa, that was kind of like a neg-2 right there. But the thing about Salamangreats is you can kind of recover all your advantage. This card, Salaman Heart, actually has the effect that lets you get a monster from your graveyard. It's like a built-in Monster Reborn, and this one right here, the link 1, actually gets you your field spell, the Salamangreat Sanctuary, which I can't click on for some reason. There it is. So he's going to activate the Monster Reborn. This actually allows him to add a card to his hand, and I believe he is going to go ahead normal summon. Now this one right here is the link 2. When you summon it, it doesn't do anything. However, if a fire monster is summoned to one of its link points, then it can actually activate, and what he's going to do is he's going to use the Falco. Falco is very similar to like Zephyros the Elite. You can take your Mir and you can bounce it to your hand, and then you can summon the Falco, which is going to trigger this guy. So now he's going to be able to add a card, and this one is I guess it's like Trickstar Lilybell. If it's added to your hand except by drawing it, then you can actually go ahead and special summon it. So that's pretty cool. So you can see right there, he's going to add one from the graveyard. Then he goes into his link 3. Now, some of you guys will be like, wait, Cap, how did he go from a link 3 into another link 3? This is kind of like the gimmick of Salamangreats. All of their link monsters, if you summon them, actually the fusion too, if you summon them using another copy of themselves, then they get bonus effects. And this card in particular, Heat Leo, this is going to be in the Salamangreat structure deck. And this just got released in Soul Fusion, but it's like a common or something like that. This card right here, the Salamangreat Sanctuary, allows you to just take one of your like link 3s and instantly go into like another copy of your link 3. It's a weird kind of gimmick, but it works for the deck, I guess. So he's going to activate the effect. Really not that important. The important thing is that he's using Fusion of Fire, and he's actually going to use his opponent's Golvig, the link monster, and now he's going to be able to go for the Violet Chimera. And this is important because now he still has that super polymerization, and he's using one Chimera to go into another copy of Chimera. Now all 3 of these effects are online. And if you don't know about this card, not only does it gain attack equivalent to the materials that you use to summon it, I think it's half, but this card actually, when it battles your opponent's monster, it doubles its original attack. And since he used one Violet Chimera to summon another one, it's going to reduce your opponent's monster that you attack into 0. So look at this. This baby is 5350 attack, and keep in mind, this attack is going to double, and your opponent's monster is going to go down to 0. So basically, when you meet those conditions, you can one-shot literally any monster in Yu-Gi-Oh! Thor has 3500 attack, but it goes to 0, and this baby doubles in stature, so there's no way your opponent's going to survive that. And to me, this is the way that you need to play Salamangreat. You kind of need to play it around trying to get Violet Chimera on field, especially by summoning another one. Now, using one Chimera to summon the second one is not mandatory, because if your opponent has a little monster on field, I think you could possibly one-shot them through that monster. Like, let's just say your opponent had like an Ultrageist Miluseek, something that's really, really tiny. You could probably one-shot your opponent through that monster, but if you want to have a guaranteed one-shot, like you want to be able to one-shot them through something like this, a Thor that's almost 400 or 4000 attack, like you need that third effect to be online. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause right quick, and we'll show you guys what this deck looks like. Okay, so this is what the Salamangreat deck looks like on paper, and obviously this deck has been built to go second. That's the reason why you see things like Phantasmi. This is essentially your Thanos Maxi Dragon, a really good card for going second if your opponent summons Link monsters. You throw this on the board no matter what, it's always going to be a +1. Plus, if they have enough Link monsters, it can let you dig deeper into your deck for your powerful one-ofs like Monster Reborn and Super Polymerization. There's also the Dino Wrestler Prankatrops. This is a really good card. Just puts a big monster on board 2600, and it has built-in monster removal by potentially launching itself. I think that there are a couple of things that will inherently help Salamangreats as an archetype. The fact that they are cybers is huge. I know really they're cybers just because of the anime, but the fact that they're cybers means you can run things like the cybers gadget, which is actually pretty good in this deck because it can reborn some of your Salamangreat monsters, some of the low-level ones. You can use those as materials, and then this guy, when it gets sent to the graveyard, you can basically get like a gadget token, which is kind of nice because that can be used for link summoning, and that monster is actually cybers. Also, you can run Lady Debugger, which is a +1 kind of Stratos for cybers. Now, you can only get level 3 or lower Salamangreats and cybers monsters. Not all of them are level 3 or lower, but how you can get the Salamangreat Mirror. This is the one that you saw used in the duel, and this is the one that's similar to Trickstar Lilybell. When it's added to your hand, you can special summon it. So basically, you can normal summon her, you can get this, and you can instantly go into your link plays, and that's pretty good. I think that when it comes to Salamangreats, I was reading over their cards, and obviously I love all their fusion stuff. This card right here had so much potential. Will of the Salamangreats. We saw this in the duel. I mean, the first effect is basically like a Monster Reborn or a summon from your hand. Like, obviously that's going to be really good. We saw the Monster Reborn effect, but the second effect has so much upside. The problem is you can't activate both of the effects in the same turn, and I find that to be just a little bit deflating. I feel like, fuck it, you should have just been able to use both of them. The second effect says you can send this face-up card from the field to the graveyard, then target one Salamangreat Link monster you control that was Link summoned using a monster with its same name as material. So basically, if you have like a Heat Leo on the field that was summoned with another copy of Heat Leo, and because of Salamangreat Sanctuary, which is searchable, we saw that exact thing come up in the duel. Now it continues on to say, with Will the Salamangreats, if I can find it, it says special summon Salamangreat monsters from the hand or graveyard in defense position up to that monster's link rating. So imagine if this card would have allowed you to use both of those effects, because he actually met that condition in the duel. Basically, he would have been able to summon 3 monsters from his graveyard or his hand / graveyard, basically a combination. He would have been able to summon 3 Salamangreats. Like, imagine basically getting a free soul charge if you're able to meet that condition. Like, that would have been bananas. It is such a shame that both of those effects can't activate in the same turn, because to me, that's kind of like, that's one of those small niche things that can turn a deck from, like, you know, casual to competitive. Getting a free soul charge out of your, you know, your card that already has a built-in Monster Reborn. You'd have been looking at basically getting four monsters from your graveyard summoned in one turn. Like, that's enough to make any deck competitive, in my opinion. Now, I don't agree with him playing the Salamangreat Gift. I don't think that this is a grind deck. I feel like you need the win within the first 3 turns while playing Salamangreat, maybe even the first 2 turns. So, like, fuck this. I would probably take this out and put like some impermanences in there or something like that, or just some other card that can just make me, you know, more aggressive. Maybe like a Mind Control, something of that sort, because, you know, getting your opponent's extra deck monsters, you know, out of their extra monster zone shouldn't be that big of a problem with Fusion of Fire and with Super Polymerization. So, like, maybe a Mind Control can, like, take their other monsters and you can use those for, like, link materials and whatnot. But I don't know. I think I actually might mess around with Salamangreats. They seem like a fun deck, and I know that I have been shitting on them as an archetype, but now I think they actually seem kind of fun. I do find it extremely jarring, and I'm a little perturbed by this. The fact that, like, they're a full-on anime deck, and the character who plays them in the anime is incredibly popular, and, you know, he has a bunch of duels, and, like, none of their cards are holographic. That's just so weird to me as, like, an Altergeist player who picked up Altergeist after Circuit Break, and, like, every card in the fucking deck was, like, ultra rare or super rare, and I was like, damn, this little Altergeist deck, like, all the cards are hollow, and then this is an anime deck that has the same type of prominence in the anime, and none of the cards are, like, hollow. I find that to be weird. To me, that just kind of feels like that is just so unlike what Konami typically does with the anime. Like, look at other decks like Trickstar. So many of their cards were like hollow. I guess Goki were a little, mixed because they only had a couple of like hollows in Code of the Duelist, but they eventually got some hollow cards. Now, the only card in this deck that I really couldn't find out why it was in here is Foolish Burial Goods. Like, I really can't understand why this card's in here. Maybe you guys can fill me in, but I read these Salamangreat cards and none of them actually seem to activate from the graveyard. It's not like there's Metaphor's Fusion stashed away in here, but yeah, maybe there's a reason that Foolish Burial Goods is played at 3, but I can't figure it out. If you guys know, please leave it in the comment section below. And yeah, Salamangreats, they kind of seem like a fun deck. I think that they will need more support, and because they're an anime deck, I think that 100% they're going to get it unless Soulburner just like magically dies in season 3 or something like that. The deck seems like it might be a lot better than what I gave it credit for. But whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already. Turn on that notification bell for daily videos and check out these other videos I know you'll enjoy.